Even though the Championship transfer window has now closed, clubs can still sign free agents for as long as they want, and you'd be surprised by how many high-profile players are currently without a club. In today's video, we are going to be counting down 30 free agents who are all realistic transfer targets that Championship clubs can sign right now for absolutely nothing. Would you take any of these players in your squad right now? Comment down below. Without any further ado though, let's just jump in. John Egan has been without a club since his release from Sheffield United in the summer. Obviously a great player for the Blades in years gone by. Hasn't played that much football of late. He obviously missed the vast majority of last season through injury, but he's still at a decent age, just 31 years old, and if he can recover from that Achilles injury he suffered last season, he could be a really good option for a number of Championship clubs. I believe throughout the summer he's had spells training with both Burnley and West Ham United, but yet to be offered an official contract. We'll wait and see where he ends up. You've got Aaron Connolly, who's currently a free agent. Fairly surprised he's not been snapped up so far. Obviously spent last season with Hull City, but upon his contract with the Tigers expiring, he's not been offered a new deal. Always been a few question marks maybe over attitude application and things like that, but in terms of a finisher in the Championship, I think he'd do a decent job for a number of clubs. Marlon Romeo, someone who's got plenty of Championship experience behind him. He's been a free agent since his contract with Cardiff was terminated in the summer. He's 28 years old and has got plenty of Championship experience. Quite surprising that Liam Cooper hasn't been picked up by anyone as of recording. The former Leeds United captain has been linked with plenty of Championship clubs, although going off some of the latest reports, he could end up going elsewhere in Europe. I've seen some interest in Bulgaria for Cooper. Former Sheffield United and Blackburn Rovers midfielder John Fleck has been without a club since the summer, although it seems more than likely that he'll be dropping down the leagues. He's most recently been training with Chesterfield. Former Burnley midfielder Jack Cork has been linked with plenty of Championship clubs. Earlier in the summer, my team Preston North End were one of the sides interested, but he's yet to sign for anyone. Didn't play that much football for Burnley in the Premier League last season, but in the season prior to that, he played quite a crucial role in their promotion in the end. He is 35 years old now, but still could do a job for a number of Championship clubs, you would have thought. You've got Josh Onomah, who's been without a club for over a year now, most recently played for Preston North End. What's crazy is Onomah did have a contract on the table over a year ago now to sign an extension with Preston. Ultimately, because of some agent talk and things like that he didn't end up signing the deal, and he's now been without a club for over a year. Seems more than likely that he'll probably drop down to League One. I know that recently he was training with Blackpool. Quite surprising that Cyrus Christie hasn't found the club for himself yet. Obviously quite a useful fullback at Championship level. I have seen the likes of Rangers and Coventry being linked with him. You've got Matty James, obviously a very solid Championship performer who's still without a club following his contract at Bristol City expiring in the summer. Last season for Bristol City, he made 37 appearances in the Championship, with 33 of those games being his starts. Adam Reach is someone who's previously been sold for £5 million, but flash forward to 2024, he's now without a club at the age of 31. He's by no means at the peak of his powers, but someone who's quite versatile like Reach, can play in a number of different positions and has that Championship experience. You'd imagine there'd be some suitors after him right now. Fred Onyedinma's without a club right now following his release from Luton Town. I'd certainly expect a few top-end League One clubs to be looking into that sort of deal. I'd be surprised if a few Championship clubs weren't sniffing around as well. Still 27 years old, so at a decent age. Romain Sawyers didn't really feature that much last season for Cardiff, but he is available on a free transfer. 32 years old, obviously someone with a lot of EFL experience. Speaking of EFL experience, that certainly applies to Eric Peters, who's on the lookout for a new club. The 36-year-old will certainly add a lot of know-how at the back for any side looking at him. The same could be said for Kieran Clark, who was most recently on the books at Stoke City, but is now without a club. Is anyone interested in Daniel Ayala either, also without a club? I was surprised to learn that he's only 33 years old. I thought he was way older than that, considering how long he's seemingly been about the block in the Championship, but most recently on the books at Rotherham United. He's still on the lookout for a new club. Fairly surprised that Brandon Williams hasn't been picked up by anyone. Obviously the former Manchester United fullback hasn't really played consistent football for a good few years now, but obviously spent last season out on loan with Ipswich Town. That spell, I think, interrupted by a few injuries here and there, but did have some really good performances. In that first half of the season, he scored a cracking goal against my team, Preston North End. Still 24 years old as well. I'd expect a top-end Championship club to be looking into that sort of deal. Simon Ghoddos is someone who we've seen in the Championship previously for Brentford. He's without a club, aged 31. Another former Brentford player who's without a club right now is Emiliano Marcondes upon his release from Bournemouth in the summer. He's only 29 years old and would be a good option for a number of Championship clubs looking to add a bit more creativity to their midfield. After spending his entire professional career with Newcastle United, Paul Dummett's on the lookout for his next club. Freddie Ladapo agreed to terminate his contract with Ipswich Town, so now is available and on the market. To be honest, I'd probably expect him to sign for a League One club this summer, but I wouldn't be totally shocked if a lower-end Championship club maybe took a punt on him. Following his contract finally running out with Newcastle United, Jeff Hendrick is back and available on the market. He is someone who Championship fans will be well accustomed to by now after spending the last 3 years out on loan in the Championship. 3 loan spells to varying degrees of success. He's had loan stints with QPR, Reading and most recently Sheffield Wednesday. Harry Arter has barely kicked a football in the last 3 years. I'm fascinated to see where he ends up next. I can't imagine a Championship club would take a punt on him right now. He's been sat on a big contract which has just been waiting to expire at Nottingham Forest. That finally ran out this summer, and now aged 34, he's available on a free. James Tompkins, obviously a very reliable Premier League defender in years gone by. Now aged 35, he's by no means at the peak of his powers, but is available on a free if any Championship club is looking to add a little bit more experience to their backline maybe. During his stint with Middlesbrough, Darren Randolph was probably the best goalkeeper in the Championship during that time. He's now 37 years old and is without a club. To be honest, he's not played that much football in the last 4 or 5 years now. He's been the backup goalkeeper at his 2 most recent clubs, those being West Ham and Bournemouth. Now 37, I'm interested to see where he lands. Another goalkeeper without a club right now is Wayne Hennessy. After quite a few years in the Premier League, I wouldn't be surprised if he drops down to the Championship. Ovi Ajaria still finds himself without a professional football club at the age of 26. Obviously a great Championship player in years gone by. Certainly during his pomp, those first few years at Reading, he was one of the best dribblers in the Championship. I know that earlier this summer he was on trial and training with Oxford United, but nothing has since come of that, as of recording at least. You've then got someone like Scott Hogan, who has scored goals at Championship level in years gone by. Admittedly though, he wasn't great for Birmingham last season. Statistically, he was one of the weakest finishers in the Championship last season, but at 32 years old, I have seen him linked with a few Championship clubs this summer. Sam Clucas has spent the last 6 consecutive seasons playing in the Championship, but now aged 33, he's without a club following his release from Rotherham United. Sean Morrison has racked up over 300 EFL appearances throughout his career, but aged 33, he's now without a club. Kevin Stewart's quite an odd one really. He's been without a club for over a year now. He most recently played for Blackpool while they were in the Championship. Injuries really haven't been kind to the former Hull City midfielder over the last few years of his career. I'd imagine if he does get back into football, after taking the year out, it will probably be at League 1 or 2 level. But there you have it guys, those are some realistic transfer targets of players who are currently without a club and are available as a free transfer. Would you take any of those at your team? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, I'm sure there are a bunch that we missed off in today's video as well. If you know about them, comment down below. Other than that though guys, that will now wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one.